Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is me, Masafai, back with another video. Before I get started, need y'all to like, comment, subscribe, and share if you like the content. Give me the HBO special. That's the Help a Brother Out special. Subscribe to your mans, okay? Shout out to the Poor Man's Podcast. Today, I'm going to be discussing how gullible I was in my first relationship. This is from like age 19 to 20. So, it was 19 years ago. So I'm gonna break it down. I end up meeting this female off the telephone chat line. Cause back then, telephone chat line was the deal back then. So I end up meeting her, and we had conversations. So at that time, I think I was 19, going on 20, and she told me that she was 19, going on 20, and whatnot. So I met her. Taking out on dates and stuff like that. We talking about 2004, 2005. I was working at Myers, so I was making $7. No, making $6.45 an hour back then. So you already know. So taking her on dates and stuff started to get a little bit more serious, but we wasn't physical. It took a while to get physical. I never pressured her. She was a nice looking female and whatnot, and like I said, I just listened, and at that time she wasn't working or anything. I think she was so-called still in school, like a college program or whatever. This is what I was told. So, I met her grandparents, met her grandfather, granddad and grandmother and whatnot. And, I was a respectable man at the time, young man, but a respectable person. And they actually liked me because I was a pretty good person, at least, I thought. So as time went on and whatnot, eventually we ended up getting physical, like, so whatnot. Mind you, she told me that she was a virgin, so okay, cool. So we ended up getting physical and whatnot, and stuff was just smooth and physical and whatnot. And as time progressed, she used to go to the studio and sing with some Detroit artists and so-called producers and things of that nature. I didn't think too much of it and whatnot. And in the middle of the relationship or whatnot, there was a time period where, just out of nowhere, she didn't want to give me sex for 2 weeks. Talking about she wanted to make it special and whatnot. So, like I said, I was gullible. I didn't think anything of it. I just went along with it and whatnot. And time went on, and it got to a point where she, like I said, she went to the studio a few times and whatnot. And then it was one day she ended up calling me, and she was crying and whatnot. And she told me that come pick her up or whatever. I picked her up. We was on the east side of Detroit. Picked her up from the studio right around 6 Mile and Gratiot and whatnot. And she talking about some guys in the studio lied, saying that she slept with them and whatever. And, I consoled her and all that type of stuff. And went home and, at least took her home, consoled her and whatnot. And, I go home and, I get to thinking, like, why is she crying if it's all just lies and bull? But like I said, I was just a little gullible. So time goes by. Now, mind you, this is probably within the 6 to 8 month time range. The relationship was pretty quick. So 6 to 8 month time range. So, take her home and whatnot. And just throughout time, some stuff just started not adding up. Like the whole school thing about her graduating and stuff like that. And, she ended up having her mother call, talking about how she graduated from school and whatnot. And I just left the story alone. And just more and more stuff started just not adding up to me. So I stopped asking her, and it was one day I knew that she would be gone. So I called her grandmother, and I knew her grandmother would be home. So I went over there and I talked to her grandmother directly. And I asked her grandmother a series of questions. I asked about, did she graduate from high school and whatever and whatnot. And she was like, oh, she didn't graduate from high school. She dropped out. Really? And then her grandmother also revealed to me that she was only 16. Why didn't I find this out at the beginning of the relationship, grandmother? So you mean to tell me, unbeknownst to me, she was underage? What are y'all trying to do to me? Now I discovered this is how cases like this happen. I wasn't never notified, even by her grandparents, that she was underage until things fell apart. So, asking her grandmother about pretty much everything, her schooling, how she dropped out, and I told her that she told me she was 19. It's like, no, she just turned 16. Why wasn't I notified this? And I'm still threw up to this day because it's like, I'm thinking about what I could have ended up in if she had decided to say that I raped her or it was unconsensual, anything of that nature, and me not even knowing that she was underage. So that's ridiculous in itself. But at the end of the conversation with her grandmother, the only thing I knew about this girl that was the truth was her bra size. When I say everything that she told me was a lie, everything. Like, I sit there and just put it together now, that 2-week period time where she didn't want me to touch her and we couldn't get physical. Now I sit there and think about how she must have been out there. She was for the streets. She was out there getting loosey-goosey.
Bluetooth disconnected.
And she must have got burnt. And, back then, I was using condoms. So she must have got burnt, found out she got burnt, and had to cut me off. So I wouldn't discover that she had a STD or STI now. And even that whole studio thing, she probably went in there and got ran by the whole studio, and then they clowned her afterwards. When I discovered that
she belongs to the streets,
and I literally tried to make a whore a housewife without even knowing. I was so gullible because, like I said, back then, she was nice looking. I'm young. I wanted to get a nice girl and settle down. Like, I talk about that to this day and just talk to women when I say, a young man, in a lot of cases, if you find the right one young and she appreciate him, they appreciate each other, they will work together and build. A lot of men ain't out there to be dogs like that. At least I wasn't. But yeah, I end up, like I said, I end up breaking it off with her. She running around crying and talking about she gonna offer herself and all this, whatever.
run, bitch, run!
I never gave her a second chance. We ended up hooking up again, probably a good 2-3 weeks after that, just for a session. And of course, I still use protection. When I say the box was hot garbage, the box was hot garbage. She must have had just got done mixing with Lexington Steel or something. Like, she'd have messed with some eggplants. Because I didn't feel nothing. It's like, what in the world? So yeah, she ended up going off to Job Corps in Flint, Michigan somewhere and whatnot, a second chance program for an actual high school diploma, after lying to me so much. And then I ended up running back into her years later, around 2011, 2010 so, because I ended up going over her grandmother's house because I knew she didn't live there, and I talked to her grandmother. And I just, talked to her grandmother for a while. I found out that her husband, her grandfather, had passed away and whatnot from cancer. And, we had to talk, and she was like, it's great to see you still doing good. Like, you want to talk to her? I can give you. I said, no, I came here to talk to you, not her. So, no, I don't need to. I don't need to leave no number or anything. I don't want her number. I'll talk to you, and, you'll have a good one. So I guess she ended up finding out that I talked to her grandmother, and she decided to Google me and find out my address, and then showed up at my house while I wasn't even there. So, she ended up leaving her number and whatnot with my peoples. And I called her and contact her, and at that time, she was pregnant. 8.5 months pregnant. And we ended up messing around, and I gotta admit, the box that pregnant box was the bomb. It was the bomb. Like I couldn't last long at all.
Okay, I'm ready. Ooh! Ooh, that feels good. That feels good. Keep going. Keep going. Why you stop? Why the sad music building up? Why?
It's over.
No, get it back up!
It's over.
Get it back up! Why is it getting smaller?
But outside of that, you know, she ended up having a baby and whatnot, and you know, like I said, it ain't mine. She ended up having a baby, and you know, we used to talk a little bit and whatnot. And I come to find out some of the details about her baby and her situation and everything, and she ended up having a baby by a pedo. Her baby daddy is a pedo who can't be even around kids. He got a record. While we was talking, he was currently locked up. I didn't even know none of this until after the baby was born and all that. And I found out she in debt, 30, 40,000 in debt. She's struggling to get Pampers and all that. I think I ended up having her get Pampers like once or twice. And then I poofed. Got out the picture. I didn't want part of that at all. And I sit there and think about it because I thought about it way back in 04, 05 when we broke up. And I'm like, I was kind of like, dang, should I have given her a second chance because things been different? And when I ran to her in the future and just saw how she turned out, it was like, whew, thank goodness I didn't give her a second chance because she would have pulled me down. That would not have been good for my life at all. I'm so glad that I didn't make a mistake and get her pregnant and I didn't catch anything from her because
She belongs to the streets.
that's the time I tried to turn a whore into a housewife without knowing because I was so gullible. And I learned a lot from that relationship situation that nice guys finish last and gullible guys definitely finish last. So this is me, Masify. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and y'all have a great day. Peace.